Leading with empathy, is that the way to get the best out of a team in all different types of scenarios and circumstances? That is a question I posed my former boss, Claire Barker, who is a marketing leader in financial services. Watch this.
You are one of the people that I look up to as I've started to take on people as a leader, as a model for how to manage people, because it was just it made me feel so supported. And I would like to know your thoughts on leadership in general, but also some of the other key traits you think is important for leaders.
Yeah, I think I'm obviously really flattered, but I do think that actually you can model yourself on previous leaders, the ones that were really good to you, and then also remember the ones that were really rubbish to work with, because those are the behaviours you have to make sure you don't adopt yourself. Because sometimes being a leader, it can be a little bit draining, present company accepted, but there are people that can be a little bit challenging, and you can find yourself resorting to type of leaders that maybe have managed people in the wrong way. So I always make sure that I treat people, this sounds a bit like dumb, but treat people the way you would want to be treated yourself. But I mean, really do that. So if you know someone's going through something that you went through, and when you went through it you didn't feel like it was handled very well, then that's an opportunity for you to change that narrative. And of course none of us are perfect. It goes back a little bit, Sean, to what we were saying about in the business world, how we talk to people as if they're humans. Well, if you take a mum into a workplace, I will have a work persona, but I am also still a mother and a human being in that way. And sometimes I would find myself thinking, well, I wouldn't accept this behaviour from a child of mine. Why would I accept this from someone else? And so you have to almost moderate yourself into there's a way to deal with things in business, and then there's a way to deal with things obviously outside. But you bring your whole self in, and that's what gives you, or what I think I strive to be as a leader, as someone who really tries to understand. I talk a lot. I know I talk a lot.
That's a great thing. I love that.
I have to work. But one of the things I've really tried to work hard on, and Tom Emery, our former CPO, did some great coaching on this. And it's sometimes you just have to sit and listen. Sit on your hands, don't say anything, and really give the person you're with the time to talk. And that might mean awkward silences as well, which for me, I'm happy to jump into any silence, but it's not always the best thing to do. So I think always trying to keep on top of the skills that are needed to nurture and bring along a team. Now, everybody I've ever worked with will know I like to be liked. I can't help it. So
we definitely share that. We definitely share that.
I won't have the. And do you know what, Sean? I don't think we're alone, right? There are very few people, I think, who would be so hard-nosed that they wouldn't care if they weren't liked. So then you've got to bring in that thing. You've got to make sure you're still doing the right thing, where you're balancing. I do still want to be liked by this person, but also we've got to maybe have a conversation that's a bit awkward. And again, back to Tom, who I've got to say he's the best chief people officer I have ever met. He's given me so much of his time. And Tom would always say confrontation doesn't have to be confronting. And I think there's something in that too. You can sit down and have a proper conversation with someone about maybe something they're going through, but it doesn't have to be a confrontational conversation. So it's about all the time bringing it back. Okay, I'm sitting in front of a person, understand what the person's going through, and empathise, and come out with something at the other end that's actionable and that can make the change that you might both need.
Yeah, I mean that just makes so much sense to me. And we're dealing with people who have might have a lot of other things going on all the time, and it's hard sometimes. But I guess it's about finding that balance between real human empathy and also we've got a job to do, and how do you have those conversations, right?
Yeah.